Hey, what time is it? It's time for Omnibros Live. Might be a little late, but we are here when you need us. That's how that phrase goes, right? All right, so everybody, welcome to another great Sunday Omnibros Live with me, and also with my boy. We got Lou over here as well. Where the hell are all of our names? Why is that name thing not showing up? Anyways, what up, Lou? What have you been up to, brother?
What's good, man? How's it been?
Dude, chilling, man. Chilling, trying to beat the heat. It's like 12,000 degrees all week today.
So, oh, believe me, I know the feeling. I'm down here in Miami, and it's not the heat, it's the humidity that gets you. You know that from firsthand experience when you came here to Orlando. It's not a dry hot, it's humid and sticky.
Yeah, down here. I don't remember it being that bad. That was like in August, wasn't it?
Yeah.
MegaCon. I don't remember it being that bad, but oof. I'll take that, whatever that was that weekend that you guys considered humidity and bad heat over 115 dry, and then a sprinkle happens, like a little bit of rain happens, and it's just muggy, and my car is dirty for no reason because it's sprinkled for 10 seconds. Yep. It's a temperamental bitch out here when it comes down to the weather sometimes. But anyways, brother, welcome everybody real quick. Let's get all the fun stuff out of the way. Let's talk about our favorite online retailer when it comes down to, let me get the stuff up real fast. When it comes down to buying your Omnis, your trade paperbacks, your Epic collections, all your collected comic book purchasing needs, we do it all on instocktrades.com. That's right, everybody. instocktrades.com, where you can get all your books at a steep discount. We used to say up to 50% off, but there's a lot of crazy things going on in the world of distributors and all that kind of fun stuff. But still, the best discounts, the best prices, the best packaging anywhere. I always tell people, you get that packaging, store it away. You're going to need it again later whenever you feel like you need to ship something out, or if you move or anything else like that. Save that packaging from instocktrades.com. Also, once a month, right here on Omnibros Live, we give out a $50 credit to instocktrades.com as well. They've been sponsoring us for, what's it been, like 4 years? It feels like 3-4 years, 12 years, something like that, for a crazy long time. We love them and appreciate everything that they do for the community and for all of our buying needs. So check out instocktrades.com if you haven't already. So, boom.
And I mean, if you want to do a little self-promotion and pimp out the Patreon real quick, because we've got a show coming up, well, probably in the next 2 weeks, I would imagine, right?
Oh, yeah.
That time of the month.
Yeah. What is it today? The 12th already? Jeepers creepers.
Yeah.
It's the 11th. So when do we want to? So we do have a Patreon page, as Lou was talking about. It's really a simple, inexpensive way for you guys to hang out with us. on a live chat like this, where we just kind of get together. There's a bunch of cubes of, like it's like a big Zoom meeting. If you're the Zoom meetings for your work, and we just talk it up. We talk about the stuff we can't talk about here on the show because of sponsorships and YouTube things and things like that. But Omnibros After Dark, we go out. There's drinking, there's partying. We say stuff we probably shouldn't say, and that's what it's all about. We just really let loose, and we come in hot on whatever topics that kind of come up at the time. So
yeah.
So Patreon, check us out, patreon.com. The link should be down below. Patreon.com, omnibroslive. It's a $1 tip jar, or whatever dollar amount you want to throw in there. $1 or $2, whatever. Just kind of throw a little bit our way as a thank you, or to kind of help keep the lights on the show. And then the all out, coming in hot, Gabe and Lou special, $5 a month. And we do the Patreon live show. It's probably going to come up pretty soon. We have to talk about that, Lou.
Yeah.
Maybe this Saturday. I don't know what your schedule looks like on Saturday, because I know you're back and forth all over Florida.
This Saturday might be an issue. Next Saturday, I should be all good, though.
All right. So we're going to talk about next Saturday. Campfire, coming in hot topics. And then there's a tip jar. So we'll probably be doing the campfire, not this Saturday, but next Saturday, last Saturday of the month, which really seems to have been the standard the last couple of months. It's been the last Saturday of the month where we do it. So hit us up there. It's dope. We always have a lot of great people in hanging out and chatting with us too. Also, a little bit of self-promotion as well. Thanks to Roberto. He caught my sale on Whatnot. So there's an app out there called Whatnot, which is a app where you can become a seller, or you can even buy stuff. It's like eBay, but it's a totally different experience than eBay. It's all live sales. So people put up their books or whatever item there is, and it's like a minute auction, and you just kind of jam away at bidding prices and bidding up what you want. I did my first live sale. It went great. If anybody's ever seen me do live sales on Torpedo, I do it that way, where it was my wife this time holding the camera, following me around as I talk and hang out. I try to do things different, because on this Whatnot app, it's literally like people get a comic book and they just go, you just see the comic book. That's all you see is this. No talking, just go, all right, I'm going to start to bid at $1. And then nothing happens. Like, it's not fun. It's not exciting. I go up there and I fucking TED Talk every single book. This is why it's important. This is why it's so expensive. Here's the grade. Let's take a look at the books. Let's talk about the grading. All kinds of fun stuff. So I really do it different than anybody else, because that's how I do things. So yeah, you can hit me up on Whatnot if you want to see what I'm talking about. I'm going to buy some cool books. I'm going to try and figure out how it works with selling Omnis and trade paperbacks and epics and stuff like that too. But you can follow me on there. It's Matrix Gabe, like the best movie ever made. Matrix Gabe. So that's that.
All right.
Shout out to everybody in the chat, dude. Everybody's showing up. There's Chess Rockwell. Haven't seen him in the Patreon for a while. So I keep forgetting, dude. I gotta start recording those Patreon videos and put them up so people who can't make it get a chance to see what we were talking about.
Oh, we haven't been recording them?
Yeah, oh. I didn't think anybody cared. Like, nobody said anything. And then when I didn't, they were like, "Hey, where's the video? Where's the video? Where's the video?" I was like, "Oh shit, I guess they do care." All right, well, I learned my lesson. So, anyways, dude, what's been going on with you?
Man, nothing, just chilling. We are about 4 months now away from the wedding, so we're kind of putting the finishing touches on a few things, paying some things off, and making sure everything is lined up for the big day. So when it does happen, everything goes as smooth as possible, and we're not just running around trying to figure out why this person isn't here or why this hasn't been done, stuff like that. You know.
Oh, you guys are going all out, huh?
Yeah, we're going pretty. We're actually for a wedding, it's pretty small, because there's people that blow 50, 60K on a wedding, and it's like, oh, it's nothing. But then, we're keeping it. Yeah.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, we're keeping it pretty modest. So,
because you know what's going to happen the next day? Nothing changes. Whether you spend $50 and you get paid and you get married at the courthouse, or you go into debt and you pay $60,000 for the wedding. The next day, it's the same thing. It's just like, okay, well, cool.
You know, I've got a friend that did a courthouse wedding, and it was as simple as we just show up, the judge marries them, and then They were
That's
out the
what I
door.
did. That's what me and my wife did. We just, we sent some messages out to people and say, "Hey, meet us here. It's important." What do you mean important? We're getting married, so show up, fool. Um, it was literally like that. And then, like, the money that we saved from not doing some big crazy wedding. I would like to do a nice big wedding for my wife, like a remarriage situation or something. But the money that we saved, we had a big party afterwards, and that's, at the house, and we got food and drinks for everybody, and it is what it is. I know people who did went to debt to get married, and then were divorced before they could pay that off. So I'm still paying for the wedding from that cold, heartless bitch. Yeah.
That's probably the worst way to go about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's just not worth it, I think. Like that whole 100, you see these extravagant weddings where they're blowing like $300,000 or 100, and I'm just like, we're just keeping it small. Like our guest list is only, I think our guest list is about 80 people, which for a wedding, it's actually pretty small.
No, that's reasonable. That's actually like friends and real family. It's not like, I got to invite my cousin's roommate from college as babysitter, because that would be rude, and I got to pay for that bitch's food.
But outside of that, man, it's looking pretty good. I've already got a gig lined up down here in Miami, so things are lining up pretty well as far as work and all that stuff is going. So
nice.
Not too bad at all. Hey, so we mentioned this earlier in the chat. Today's Sunday, so we kind of just shoot the shit and go with whatever. What'd you think of Black Widow? Because I know. Okay, first off, did you see it in theaters or did you go the Disney streaming route for Black Widow?
No, I went to a theater, like it was 2019 again.
How was the turnout? Were there a lot of people there?
Not really.
Really?
No, not really. It was Thursday. It was a Thursday 5 o'clock showing. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's Thursday. It's not really like the big opening, like weekend kind of thing. And it's 5 o'clock, but still it was like, I don't know, less than 15 people in the theater, I think. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how the box office did the rest of the weekend, but it wasn't that packed. But we'll get into the talk about it real quick before we get into any spoilers. I enjoyed the action and like the espionage stuff. What was that movie with Jennifer Lawrence? Was it Red Sparrow?
Yes.
It's basically a GPG version of that movie. Did you see that movie? You know what I'm talking about? Where she goes to like, she's like a ballet dancer, and she basically goes to like horror college to be like an assassin, like like super sexy, all that kind of stuff, right?
I know exactly the movie you're talking about, and I actually agree with you. That's one of my complaints, I guess you would say, about this movie that we'll talk about later. But I did the streaming route where we paid $30. We now technically own the movie because it's on the Disney Plus app, and we can watch it whenever now. Once you pay the $30. And I personally, I wish. I hate interacting with a lot of people. As I get older, I'm becoming more and more kind of like a hermit, kind of like Jess at this point, where if I don't really have to go to the movie theater to watch a movie and interact with like 30 people in the same room, and it's not a big tentpole event like Endgame. Endgame is a movie that I would say you should watch in a theater full of other people that were really hyped to see it, because it does add a little bit to it. But something like Black Widow, where it's like, okay, it's a movie that once you finish it, I went, this really didn't need to be done. There's really nothing that ties here to the overall MCU.
Yeah, it wasn't like a big event type film or anything like that at all. So just kind of get everybody up to track with it real quick, Lou. So Black Widow, it was supposed to come out like pre-pandemic, and it kept getting pushed and kept getting pushed and kept getting pushed and kept getting pushed, and it was a big thing for a while of it. Is it going to come out? Is it going to come out? When's it going to come out? Is it going to come out on just streaming? Like, what's going to happen? And then eventually it finally came out. It's now that theaters are open for the most part, and it's on streaming. on Disney Plus, which is $30. It takes place right after Civil War and before Infinity War.
Right.
Just to kind of give a little bit of a timeline for people, because there's a lot of little hints and nods and like kind of forced Easter eggs, I would say. But it's definitely right there. It's Natasha is on the run, and this is a complete just. If you ever watched Loki, this is like a complete branch off from like the main storyline of the MCU.
Right.
Yeah. Have you been watching Loki? Speaking of Loki, real fast, been watching Loki?
I am actually behind on Loki by 2 episodes, but I feel like I've watched it because everybody's talking about the spoilers and stuff like that.
Dude, yeah, that sucks. That sucks.
So I'm like, well, okay, I guess that's ruined. But I will get caught up before the finale. I know some of the big like Easter egg moments that they've had over the last few episodes. Obviously,
they're not even big Easter eggs. They're not even big Easter eggs. Don't let the internet hype you up. They're just like, oh, look at that, that's cute. Oh, it's in the background. That's cute. It has nothing to do with the storyline. It's just, oh, that's cute because they're in like this like outside of the world void. So it's a bunch of just random like forced Easter eggs kind of stuff. It's cool though because you're like, oh look, it's the statued head of such and such character, or oh hey look, it's this other character that's somebody else that's really in the comics. Oh, there's this kind of helicopter.
I saw that
Easter egg thing, but none of it's like story driven or anything like that. Like all of that stuff is all just kind of like half a second. Like you blink, you miss it.
Yeah, and I think the biggest one was like, damn, I actually would have liked to have seen the frog. Like, oh wow, that would have been cool if I had actually caught that live. I'm like, oh, that's a bit of a nice nod.
It's like half a second. Literally, if you're eating and you bend down to eat your food or you look down to eat your food, you'll miss it.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's not a story element. It's not a part of the overall structure or anything. It's just like, oh, hey, look, that's neat. Oh, now everybody's talking about it. Now it's like, oh, that's my favorite character of all time. I always loved that character. Yeah, remember when he used to do the dancing at the beginning of all the WB cartoon shows? Yeah, that frog.
I always love that when all of a sudden people start coming out. Oh yeah, I always loved that character. I knew about that character like from the beginning. It's like, did you really? It's kind of obscure.
Oh, really? So all the facts you're telling me, the stuff that I read off of Collider also? Okay, yeah, cool.
Or what's the guy who he reads comic books for you? For the people that are too lazy to read the book.
Comic Storian? Is Comic Storian?
That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah. I only know because you talk that guy down a lot. I don't even. I'm not a YouTube person. I don't watch it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of any of those. Of him or comics. It's fine. I have my own personal reasons for that. But overall, what'd you think of Black Widow overall?
I would give it like a 7. I would give it like a 7, in just the context of it's your basic. Again, if you've seen Red Sparrow, you've seen Black Widow. It's just like I said, it's a PG version of that Red Sparrow movie, where there's this. It's called the Red Room, where it's like this really nasty guy who goes around and basically buys or finds like young girls who are kind of living on the streets or don't have family, or whose family kind of has to sell their kids off, kind of really sad situations, and they get trained to be the greatest assassins in the world. All right, we've seen that 1,000 different times. We've all heard that story and all that stuff, and it's basically that with a semi-family reunion type story. But the best thing about this show, though, or about this movie, is it is, for the most part, non-stop action. There's a lot of big, cool action scenes. It's a lot of fun espionage, spy, everything you want in an espionage spy movie. Like backstabbing and double backing, car chases, explosions, fight scenes, prison breakouts, all that stuff. It's all it checks off everything on the list of your basic espionage James Bond movie.
Yeah, no, I agree. How'd you feel? I hated what they did to Taskmaster.
Oh, dude, I was into the movie. I was all right. This is all kind of cool. and then the whole Taskmaster thing like happens. I'm not going to get into the spoilers, but there's a big reveal about Taskmaster, and I'm like, I'm out. So if anybody has a first appearance of Taskmaster and you've been specking on it or holding on to it, like it's dead now. It is dead now. It is not. It's not a book to hold on to anymore. Like, get rid of it and get what you can out of it. If you're buying and hoarding these things just to trying to get money out of it because of the movie, it's time to get rid of it.
And get rid of it quick, right? Get rid of it now.
Yeah, get rid of it now and get what you can out of it. It's unfortunate, but I don't want to get into spoilers, but it's. I mean, there's a lot of cool scenes. There's more to the Taskmaster than what's in the trailers. That character is like the second main protagonist, the real protagonist of the movie. Other than like the big head honcho guy who runs the Black Widow program kind of thing, who is barely in the movie.
Yeah, this should have been their James Bond. I think this could have been their like big spy James Bond movie. And I was kind of hoping this might have been like, oh, this might be like another Winter Soldier, like, oh, it's a badass spy movie.
Yeah.
And it just feels like it got the legs cut from underneath it. I think I'm spoiled simply because we watch these MCU movies with the mindset of, okay, this is going to lead into something else. This is going to lead into something bigger. This is going to change things and maybe move into something later on in the MCU. And it kind of doesn't. It's literally, that's what it is. It's a standalone Black Widow movie. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think we're so used to post-credit scenes being so huge. And it's like, do you remember the first time you got out of Avengers and you saw Thanos like on his little like chair and stuff like that?
Yeah.
And he's floating there and it's like, oh shit. That was a big what the fuck moment.
Or even from the beginning with Iron Man, when Samuel L. Jackson shows up as Nick Fury and he goes, hey, I need to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative. And you're like, oh my God, this is going to be a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be.
Right. So right, exactly. It's none of that here. There's really nothing here that I can see having huge repercussions or huge lasting effects to the greater MCU outside of the whole Black Widow program and how that whole thing solved itself in a way. I'm being super vague. I love David Harbour's character. I love the Red Guardian. He was fucking awesome. He was great.
Yeah. He was great from the very beginning. Like the first like scene of the movie, like the first 15 minutes is like, okay, this is cute and fun. Wait, what happened? Wait, where's this going? Wait, where's this going? Wait, the whole time like, where's this going? Where's this going? Where's this going? And he's great. Dude, when they find him later on in the movie, when he reappears, that's some of the greatest stuff in the movie. I think David Harbour really kind of stole the film for me.
It was between David Harbour and Yelena, which is Black Widow's sister. I think they were the best parts of that film. I think that for me, they saved the whole movie from being, this isn't that good to like, oh, okay, I could. Ultimately, this is going to be one of those when I'm doing my MCU rewatch that I do every few years. This is going to be one of those where I come back to it and it'll be a Iron Man 3 or a Thor where I'm like, oh yeah, this was a thing. Like they did one of these, and it was just okay,
Yeah, it's you can almost even skip it. Like there's really not much in this because it's just an offshoot of the entire storyline. I mean, even like these Disney Plus shows, you don't feel like you need to skip a lot of that stuff. It's leading into this next phase of Disney films or of the MCU films.
Right.
So Hooniverse, I like his comment. He says it kind of makes it better though because you don't have to watch 24 movies as a prerequisite to enjoy this film. But you do still need to watch a little bit to enjoy this film or to kind of get the idea of what's going on. But it's not I don't feel like it's a big piece of the puzzle that you're gonna miss. It's almost like an annual or that random like mini series where you're like, okay, it's cool, but it's not. It has a little bit of like loose ends that kind of get tied up in here, but it's not a grand scale event storyline.
Yeah, you at least have to know what happened in Infinity War, why she's on the run, and what's going on with the Sokovia Accords. At the bare minimum,
Civil War.
Need to know that.
Yeah,
a Civil War. Excuse me.
Civil War stuff. Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's enjoyable. I mean, I'm not saying don't go watch it. I enjoyed the action, the overall kind of story involved with it. It's kind of a Black Widow on an apology tour. It feels like. And it's like it really doesn't give us much more background into Black Widow that we didn't already know for the most part. Yeah. I mean, other than like, what she had to do to join SHIELD was really interesting. And then you realize what kind of comes out of it, and you're like, oh, all right, well,
kind of fucked up.
That's what I was kind of hoping. I was hoping this was going to be like, well, we assumed, or it would have been nice if this was like a flashback film, like this was like a real origin story.
Mm-hmm.
You get like I said, you get a bit of that in like a flashback. It's kind of weird that this flashback movie has a flashback, but
yeah, I think who was it that mentioned it? Robert Rodriguez nails it on the head. I think the only MCU purpose of this movie is to introduce Florence Pugh as Black Widow and hunting down Hawkeye. You know what? I can even go as far as saying, if you have really no passing interest in Black Widow, as of right now, the overall granding fan of the MCU, you can skip this movie entirely and you can watch the post-credits, and you'll be fine for what's going to happen next. Yeah, it's still a fun movie. It's still a fun movie, and I think, yeah, you should go out. You should probably enjoy it. It's not a bad, date night movie.
It's nice to see a Marvel film on the big screen again, for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
Seeing that big Marvel roll, like the beginning of the film, and like the comic book page flapping and all that stuff, it's great to see that again after almost 2 years, no Marvel films.
I had that same feeling watching it at home, where I was like, you know what? Because it's been over a year. I had the same feeling when I was like, wow, we're about to watch a new MCU proper movie. And it's been 2 years now. This will be year 2 without it.
Spider-Man. Spider-Man was the last one, right?
Mm-hmm. Spider-Man was the last one. And then the pandemic hit and it fucked everything up. I was like, wow, this is actually nice. I forgot like what the excitement is of like seeing the pages turn and you're seeing like the Marvel logo pop up and you're like, oh shit, I'm about to watch a proper MCU film now.
I mean, you get that with the Disney Plus films, but it's not the same thing.
No, not the same thing.
Yeah.
It's a good primer. I think it's a good primer for what's to come later on this year. Of the stuff that's coming out later this year, the one that I'm the most excited for is the Spider-Man one. Followed by, I'm curious about the Eternals and how they're going to pull that off.
Eternals is going to be the next big thing.
You think so?
From my understanding, from the whispers I've heard, and this is just internet whispers, is that Eternals is going to be Marvel's next big push. Like they got 3 films planned out. It has like the biggest cast if you think about it.
Yeah, it's got a stack
cast. You got Salma Hayek, who is literally having like a resurgence, and you got what's her face, who was married to Brad Pitt for a minute.
Angelina Jolie.
And Angelina Jolie. It's a huge cast film with those 2 actors in it. But I think that's going to be like their next big push. Like I think that's going to kind of take them into the higher than cosmic level, like into like the gods and that kind of stuff. So I think there's going to be a lot that's going to come out of it. But again, it's one of those things where like the Eternals, who knows or who cares about the Eternals? It's kind of like with Guardians of the Galaxy. Like a talking raccoon and a talking tree. They're on drugs. What's going on here? But I think Eternals will be the next big. I'm looking forward. Dude, all the Marvel films I'm looking forward to. Shang-Chi, it looks amazing. Spider-Man, we haven't seen the trailer yet. That's probably going to drop pretty soon. I'm really looking forward to that. Doctor Strange. All the like Disney Plus films seem to be leading into like Doctor Strange stuff, like introducing multiverses and time variants and things like that.
And I think the time is coming where they're gonna have to eventually announce who the next big bad is. Like you can only go through so many movies before fans start going, okay, what's our next Avengers? Like what's the next Avengers level threat that we're gonna have pretty soon?
And I think that's gonna come out of Eternals.
Yeah.
Because you know what's bigger than Thanos? It has to be like some kind of like galactic cosmic situation, you know?
Yeah. We joke around about it in the chat, but I just imagine you freaking out if the end of Eternals is you see like a purple helmet or something like that,
or like a silver streak in the
oh
cosmos or something.
My god!
Yeah, I'm waiting for that.
We know Fantastic Four is coming, so they have to start introducing some of these elements pretty soon. And what better way than to do the Silver Surfer or introduce like the concept of the Silver Surfer?
Yeah. I mean, they're bringing back Abomination in Shang-Chi, whatever, however it's pronounced, Abomination. There, maybe that was Fing Fang Foom also. There's a lot. It feels good to be able to kind of talk about speculations and stuff coming up on these films. This is fun. But I agree with Hayden's comment that this would have been really good if this was actually if Black Widow was between if this was like anyway. I feel like Black Widow should have been the first film after Endgame as an epilogue of sorts, and then Far From Home should have kicked off Phase 4. I think this would have been great if they actually put it in the timeline. Like if this was after like Civil War and before Endgame or before Infinity War, I think it would have worked. Because you're kind of just going back in time. I'm waiting for, what's the first film coming out? Is it Spider-Man?
I think it is Spider-Man.
Is it Spider-Man?
Next?
Yeah, that's actually going to move the MCU forward as opposed to Black Widow, like just kind of stuck it in place, you know?
Well, the next one that's coming is Shang-Chi. I believe it's Shang-Chi. And then it's Eternals, and then I think Spider-Man is the one after that. And out of all those, everybody online is eagerly awaiting that Spider-Man trailer because look, we know Alfred Molina is coming back as Doc Ock. Like he's said it. We know that's happening. We know Jamie Foxx is coming back as Electro, and then there's been speculation of what's that guy's name? The one that did the Raimi Spider-Man movie, Tobey Maguire. There's been speculation that people have said, hey, Tobey Maguire's been seen around New York, and he's looking like he's in better shape and stuff like that than he has the last few years. So I'm super excited for Spider-Man out of all these, to be honest, just because if they pull it off, I think it's going to be fucking awesome if we get 3 generations of Spider-Man in the same movie.
Well, I'm really, my thing about Spider-Man, I could care less about Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield or Albert Molina or any of that stuff. I just want to see Matt Murdock because the Matt Murdock from the Netflix series was supposedly in this too. So I want to see if they're tying that in somehow.
Yeah. That's the speculation that he also filmed a scene in that Spider-Man movie. So they're bringing everything into. They're bringing everything. I think Spider-Man is probably arguably going to be the biggest one this year. I think it's going to be huge.
Maybe I think this might be all maybe tying into Doctor Strange. I think Doctor Strange might be the springboard into, or even Ant-Man, the springboard into the next big bad, because I think that's supposed to be Kang. Because we know Kang is coming.
Yeah,
and he's supposed to be in Ant-Man. And maybe there's some stuff with Loki. There's a lot of weird, Easter eggs that might be taken out of context or, bigger than they're supposed to be. But I think Kang is supposed to be the next. I don't know how, not much of a big bad, but I think he's supposed to be like the next like mini boss, I guess you could say. So I'm interested in seeing that too.
I was actually kind of surprised that they announced Kang is going to be the villain for Ant-Man. Like Kang for Ant-Man?
Dude, I'm surprised they're doing an Ant-Man 3. I'm like, oh, Ant-Man 3?
I like those Ant-Man movies, man. I don't think they're that bad.
They're fun, but they're enjoyable, but I don't think they haven't been big epics. And that's the things I like about the MCU films, like the big epic storylines and the big, larger than life superhero stuff. Or the street level stuff, like with Punisher or Daredevil.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Mostly the. So, do you think we'll ever get another Punisher?
Yes.
Really?
I think Punisher, Daredevil, Ghost Rider are all waiting in the wake of things. It's all coming through. I don't know if you're gonna get a different actor. I don't know if you can do much better than that John Berthal guy.
I think he nailed it.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think he did too. I think it was a really terrible misstep on that second season. But I don't think you could do a better job casting wise than him for Punisher. Like he is how everybody is about Wolverine and Hugh Jackman. I am like that about Punisher. I can't see anybody else doing Punisher besides him.
Well, he embodied the character so well, and you could tell he actually respected and cared about the character of the Punisher, and he got it. He understood what the Punisher is.
He was the most aggressive Punisher, and that's what you need as a Punisher. Like you didn't really get that with Thomas Jane. You didn't really get that with who was the guy that did the Warzone one?
I love Warzone though.
I love Warzone. I love it, but I don't think Steven Johnson, I think his name was. I'm not sure.
I forgot what his name is.
But I don't think he is high octane fuel powered monster like John Bernthal was as Punisher.
Yeah, and that's really what I love. If you ever get a chance to read you've read Garth Ennis's Punisher run, right? Yeah, all the way through. Brilliant. I absolutely love Garth Ennis's Punisher run. His run has one of my favorite volumes, one of my favorite 6-issue arcs that I think I've ever read. The Slavers arc, which is just fucking brutal. If you want something that'll just crush your spirit, that Slavers arc and how it ends is really fucking raw.
Well, he also looks like he embodies those Tim Bradstreet covers of Punisher. Yeah. So
I mean, the Slaver, for those of you out there that are like, I want to read Punisher, I don't really know necessarily where to start or what to read. I always recommend you pick up Garth Ennis's Punisher Max run. And then Jason Aaron comes in later on, I think it was like a year or two after, and he ends up finishing out the entire Punisher Max story. You get the character, Garth Ennis comes back eventually, and he tells like a few flashback stories like set in Vietnam and stuff like that, which is brilliant as well. But for me, the definitive Punisher writer is Ennis. I love what he did with the character where he makes him, Ennis understands the Punisher is pretty one-sided. He's not really he's not really a character that has a lot of depth to him. So what he does is he pairs him off with characters that you are just disgusting, the most vile pieces of shit in the world. And he goes, how would the Punisher deal with this character? And in the Slavers, he tackles the slave trading company. And it's fucking amazing what he does. It's a slasher comic. It's really, the Punisher becomes a slasher. He is an unbeatable force.
He is basically Jason Voorhees. Like he's this mythological, like unkillable creature. Yeah,
he pretty much is. Every single issue, he does. It's a pattern. It starts off with Punisher meets somebody. They tell him this is what's going on with these horrible people, and this is why you should kill them. And the Punisher goes on to brutally murder every single person.
And that's how it should be with the Punisher. I don't need him to be like War Machine, even though that was really cool when you got the War Machine armor. That's one of the coolest ideas. But I don't need it to be like thought provoking or anything like that. I just want him to just destroy people. In awesome, creative, messed up destruction ways,
It's so good. Yeah. I love that run, dude. It's awesome. And maybe that's because I'm kind of an Ennis fan. I'm kind of an Ennis fanboy. I love more of Ennis's books than the stuff that I don't love. But that Punisher run just chef's kiss.
From the beginning when he did Welcome Back, Frank, was fantastic. That everything did that, and then like Malgucci and all that stuff too. When that miniseries came out, Ennis is I love his stuff. I also love gosh, who's that guy that did? It was not Greg Rucka. Oh damn it! There was another guy that just did really fun like war style Punisher stuff too. Nathanson.
Okay, I haven't read that.
Yeah. But yeah, that stuff's going to be coming back, dude. I think we're going to get Punisher in the MCU proper. I think we're going to get Daredevil. Nathan Edmondson. That's who it is. I had to Google that real fast.
Mm-hmm.
His run was really great. That's the stuff. I think that's the stuff that had like the female Punisher show up, which was really cool. But yeah, so I think we're going to get Punisher. I think we're going to get Daredevil back in proper MCU. I really hope it's is it David Cox, the actor from the Netflix series?
Yes. Yeah.
I hope it's that because they were, oh man, we were this close to getting Bullseye, and that would have been an amazing Bullseye, I think. And then we lost it. We lost it. And again, I don't think there's a better Kingpin than Homeboy.
D'Onofrio?
Vincent D'Onofrio is like one of the greatest Kingpins.
Yeah.
I mean, we've only gotten like one or two other real Kingpins out of everything in general. You know, Michael Clark Duncan was cool, but he was more of a flashy, kind of almost like Gigolo style Kingpin, while Vincent D'Onofrio is like just I don't care. I rule this city in secret, you know, and was just ruthless.
I love it.
Oh, when you crushed that dude's head in the car door, that's when I was like, "Whoa, this is getting to, now. This is it. This is it."
What's your favorite incarnation of Bullseye as far as comics goes? Because for me,
Punisher
I love
Max.
Yes, the Jason Aaron one.
Jason Aaron stuff when he was just
oh
this
my
cycle
God.
going around, living Punisher's life and trying to recreate his life. Spoilers. For anybody that hasn't read Punisher Max by Jason Aaron, all right, 5, 4, spoilers, 3. What was that spoiler thing? We got a spoiler tag here. So spoilers, if you haven't read that series, Holy
shit.
where Bullseye gets hired by the Kingpin to take out the Punisher because Kingpin's had it. I'm done. You're killing all my men. All this crazy stuff is going on, and he gets Bullseye, and it's the worst idea you could ever do because this is the worst Bullseye there has ever been. In the fact that he is just completely neurotic, he is completely without remorse.
Yeah,
where he is trying to get in the head of Punisher, so you can kind of understand his thinking, his reasoning, his thought processes, and trying to get in his head. And he does that by any extreme measures he can. He's sleeping in some of his like abandoned safe houses. He is following his lifeline in his tracks. He discovers that his family was murdered. He goes out and kidnaps his own family. Or Bullseye finds his family and injects himself into the family and kidnaps them. All just so that he can have them murdered. So you can get into the idea of what makes the Punisher the Punisher.
Yeah. And
it is just brutal. And it even kind of touches back on Garth Ennis's Bourne a little bit, where it's like, Frank, you just got back from the military. You're a warrior and a soldier and a killer, and now you got to come back into a regular world, working some shitty job at some whack factory, when all you really want to do is kill more, and you want a reason to kill more. And that's why you kept going to war. And he kind of like negatively thought and willed it into existence that he had his family killed on purpose. Not on purpose, but he wanted it to happen. Like in the back of his head, he was looking for some reason to go to war. And the Punisher, just again, through just like negative thoughts and hoping that his family was killed. And he wasn't remorsed by it. He enjoyed it because now he has that reason to go out and kill again. It was great. Oh my God. And just that fight when they had where Punisher was just taking just like sledgehammers to his face. Oh my God. Fantastic.
And the thing is,
other than that, Frank Miller. Other than that, Frank Miller Bullseye. I mean, those are the essential Bullseyes. There's some other sparks in Bullseye in the comics that's really cool and crazy, like Dark Avengers, what he does to Sentry's wife, stuff like that. Yeah. But overall, it's Frank Miller and Jason Aaron.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I mean, and for those of you that have never read it, you really do owe it to yourself to read the Punisher Max stuff, because there was, what would you say, in the early 2000s, there was what was called the Max line, right?
Yeah.
That was early 2000s was the Max line.
Yeah, that was right
and
after
it
Marvel
was,
Knights. Yeah.
Right. It was, a lot of the stuff was completely out of continuity. It just gave the writers an excuse. Okay, if you want to write a adult-oriented comic, go ahead. We'll give you freedom to write whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. And a lot of the stuff was a miss. And there wasn't that much good stuff. But one of the stuff that was really great of it, that came out that was really great, was the Garth Ennis Max line, and that came out of the Marvel Knights stuff, which I know the Marvel Knights Punisher Omnibus came out a few years ago. That stuff was hit and miss for me. You could see that Ennis wanted to do more with the character, but he kind of took it more of a comedy route.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy feeds a mobster to a polar bear in the Marvel Knights line.
The whole thing with the Russian,
funny.
where the Russian gets his head cut off, and then he puts it on a woman's body, really big boobed woman's body.
Right.
And then he's wearing like a Britney shirt. That's when I was like, oh, okay, I'm kind of losing it here. Until it turns into Max, and it's kind of back to mobsters and street drugs and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So once that Max line started hitting its stride, Garth Ennis was the star that came out of that Max line. It was the best stuff that when they were doing Max, it was the best stuff that came out of it. And even up until a few years ago, he was doing some Max comic books. We got Fury Max, which is fucking great. Fury Max is awesome. And then we got I think there was like a Punisher in Vietnam story that came out a few years ago.
Yeah, Punisher
a few years ago.
No, that was God. I want to say either at the start or even before he did his Max line of Punisher.
Okay,
because that was Derek Robertson on the art. But yeah, that's the one where he was like, oh, I'm you see him become Punisher in Vietnam, and when he returns, it's like, oh my God, I got a family. This sucks.
Yeah.
I gotta go do my taxes now in Mulder Yard.
and you nail it when you said it's an interesting look at Frank Castle, because it's basically insinuating Punisher wasn't born when Frank's family died.
No.
Punisher was always inside of him. The character was always inside of him when he was in Vietnam, or whenever the setting takes place in the war that he was in. And this just gave him an excuse. It's sad because the family thing just gave him an excuse to finally go, oh, okay, now I can keep going.
Yeah, now I can use that as the crutch as to me being this monster killer.
Exactly.
Where I now have a war to fight.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's probably one of the best things that's ever been added to the mythos of Punisher is like, no, he's always been crazy. He just was waiting for a reason to do something. Yeah. It's like one of those things where it's like, oh, I just can't wait for somebody to try to like any parent where it's like, oh, somebody touches my kid, I'm gonna kill him and go crazy. It's that kind of an excuse. Okay, now I have a reason to go out and kill and snap necks and have my own war. It's fantastic,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that Fury Max stuff is really great. What was the other Max titles? It was a Cage that I think it was Brian Azzarello wrote it. It was called Cage. It's Brian Azzarello. And I think Richard Corbin, of all people, did the art on it. Alias came out of Max. I think I have the trade for that.
Alias was Max. You're right. No,
I think that was the first Max title, to be honest. I think.
Yeah, and Alias was great as well. That's the Jessica Jones book. That was great. Bendis' Daredevil, I never hit Max. That was Marvel proper, right?
I'm sorry?
Bendis' Daredevil was Marvel proper, right?
That was Marvel Knights. That was Marvel Knights. That was the first Marvel Knight title, was Daredevil.
Right.
And he took it over after issue 22 or something like that.
Do you remember the hype behind that book when it first came out?
Yeah, because Kevin Smith was on it.
Yeah.
It was the first time not the first time, but like the most recent memory at that time of a big Hollywood guy writing comic books.
Wait, I thought Kevin Smith was the 90s.
It was the end of it was like the end of the 90s, early 2000s is when. No, it was like 2000, 2001 when Marvel
was it?
happened. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's that Guardian Devil storyline with Mysterio.
That's right.
And then after that, David Mack took over for a little bit, and then Bendis came on.
Yeah.
And then that was just the book to read back then. It was the book to read. If you guys don't have those Daredevil Omnis, you are doing yourself a disservice with those Bendis Omnis. And then it takes a turn, and Brubaker takes it over, and you're like, holy crap, this is also still fantastic. So that entire volume 2 of Daredevil, up until Shadowland, is monumental.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I got to hand it to Chip Zdarsky. He's writing a hell of a run right now.
I've been hearing that. I have the first issue. I found it, but I don't have anything else of it. And I'm looking it up on like eBay, and I'm like, God damn, these prices are all like $20 a book. Damn it.
Yeah.
You know?
They're pretty good. He's got a really solid run going on here. It's not
and I know there's an omnibus coming out for it, but dude, I don't want an omnibus of it. Like I have something for maybe like complete collections or thicker trades or something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, he's got it's not quite up to the Bendis or Brubaker level, his Daredevil run. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun, and it's probably the best Daredevil's been since Wade. So I'm like, man, that's great.
That's another good run. But that was a fun, not goofy, but it was more into the Marvel universe. You know, like Doctor Doom's in it and Claw's in it and stuff like that. But
yeah. If you ever get a chance to listen to the story about Kevin Smith starting to write comics, and he was paired up with Joe Quesada, and he wrote it like a traditional movie script, and Joe Quesada kicked it back to him and said, "I can't fucking do this, man."
No, he's like, it's gonna be nothing but word bubbles. You're not gonna see any of the art. It's gonna be covered up by all your damn diarrhea of the typewriter. So it was 98. Okay, I knew it was somewhere around then, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
I still have most of those issues. Like I have all my like probably like the first like 20 issues still. I sold everything else and I sold my collection, but like I have like the first Echo. Hell, dude, I have original art from David Mack from that run. So
lucky bastard.
Yeah.
Oh my god. How much would that fetch right now?
I have no idea, dude. I paid like nothing for it. Like original art these days is stupid. I paid like $500 for it, and I was like, oh my god, $500. That was all my money. But it's a beautifully painted David Mack Echo Daredevil page.
Mm-hmm. And it's crazy how the rate of inflation has affected even artists now. Where if you want a piece of original art from a premium artist, like let's say, let's look at Ryan Otley. How much do you think you're going to pay for a Ryan Otley original piece? I
was just thinking of that name. Anything right now, honestly, interior pages even is going to be $1,000, $1,200. Easily.
Yeah.
Dude, I have Ryan Otley Invincible pages, like big spoiler pages. I think I paid like $300 for them, $400.
Oh my god! And you could probably flip those right now and make a good profit on them too if you wanted to.
Maybe when the spoiler happens in the Amazon series, maybe, yeah. But yeah, it's crazy. It's just,
yeah.
I mean, that's just the way it's. There's more attention on it. People realize that there's big money in it, and there's nothing but room for growth, and it's been undervalued for 60 years. This original art stuff.
Yeah.
Same with video games. I don't know if you've seen the graded video game market, but that is out of control.
Dude, I feel like everything that you can collect right now is out of control in terms of price wise.
Yeah. Well, you're a Pokemon guy. Pokemon stuff is just stupid out of control. Like graded Pokemon cards. Yeah.
Yeah. Pokemon, you name it, dude. At this point, Magic cards, Pokemon cards, baseball cards, comic books.
Yeah.
Sneakers. Try and get yourself a pair of sneakers on release day right now. Impossible. It's ridiculous. Even video game consoles. You would think we're 7-8 months out of release from these new consoles, and you can still not find a PS5 or an Xbox One online because bots still snatch them up. It's a pain in the ass still.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It's weird how they can't keep up with the demand. Like, who's buying on? There's no games for the PS5, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I have it. I have the PS5, and I'm still mostly playing just old stuff on it at this point. So, I mean, I love it. I love the machine, and it's going to pay off eventually when we start getting newer stuff. But outside of Miles Morales, which is a fucking great game, and the new Ratchet and Clank, and even Miles Morales, I think, is on the PS4. There's really no reason to have a next-gen console right now.
Isn't there a God of War coming out for the PS5?
Next year. That's 2022 is the rumor.
That's about that. And then I think there's a new Halo coming out. That might get me to be interested in buying a next-gen console. Like I have a PS4, and I never used it besides for Netflix.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, I used to play a lot more than what I do now, but, family,
No, I hear you.
Wedding,
I was the same way, man. Like the Xbox 360 era, forget about it. I was glued into that community and into that base and into those games. Gears of War, dude. Gears of War was my thing. Gears of War was my thing.
Did you ever do LAN parties? Did you ever hook up like with a bunch of friends? You connect all the Xboxes together with like multiple TVs and stuff like that.
My first roommates, I moved into this house with these guys, and that was 2002.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Xbox. The first Xbox was still the big thing because of Halo. Halo 1 was still a thing. And we all had our own rooms, we all had our own TVs, we all had our own Xboxes. That was the reason I bought like a TV and an Xbox, was to do LAN parties with these guys so that we could play Halo together. And we would hook it up. We got a hub or like an old school Linksys router back in the day, and we would plug in and just we would have LAN parties all the time. People would come over and play. It was great. Yeah. LAN parties. The first time I actually did it, honestly, is at my friend Deshaun. Sean. Mm-hmm. It was the GameCube of all things. You could buy this network adapter, and we all would bring our GameCubes over to his house, and we would buy this extra network adapter that was like fucking $50. I mean, this is like 1998, 1999 times, and we would play Mario Kart Double Dash. Mm-hmm. That was, we would just LAN party that stuff, and people would come over, and it was just a huge fun time. I miss that. It's cool now, but everything now is online. You don't ever meet anybody, or you can still do it, but nobody does it. Why? Just, hey, bro, hit me up on Xbox Live. We'll just do it that way. There's no reason for me to go to your house.
I think there's something lost in that, man. That community and like getting together with your friends, having a few beers or something like that, or
pizza, Doritos everywhere, and beer and other nefarious stuff. Yeah.
I miss it. I miss it a lot, man. I do. My best friend growing up, his dad owned a video game store, a retro video game stores. Yeah, so we would sometimes stay the night at the actual store, and we'd be up till 3 or 4 in the morning, and the AC would kick off because they're trying to save electricity in the building and stuff like that. So 7 in the morning roll around, and we're just drenched in sweat.
Did you used to go to like internet cafes and play, games there?
Never did that. No,
I used to go do that. We used to play Doom.
No, I never had to. I never had to because, like I said, my best friend growing up, his dad, that's what his shop was. It was a retro video game store, and it had a section with like computers and stuff like that where you could pay to play for certain hours and stuff like that. We never had to pay.
Yeah, but imagine that, having to pay to play video games on a landline. Like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah, good times, man. Holy shit, good times.
Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and start winding this down. We're almost at that hour mark.
Yeah, man.
All right. So again, everybody, thanks for everybody for showing up today on this Sunday Omnibros. One last time, big shout out to our big sponsor, InStockTrades.com. That's our number one go-to online retailer for all of our omnibus, absolutes, trade paperbacks, oversized hardcovers, anything collected edition wise. InStockTrades.com is our number one pick. They've been sponsoring us for, like I said, it's probably been like 16 years, it feels like. We love them. They once a month, everybody, it's the last Monday of the month, we do a $50 gift card giveaway to In Stock Trades. So make sure you follow us, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on that chance for a gift card on the last Monday of this month, which is coming up really soon. I didn't realize we were already at the middle of the month. Best packaging around, awesome prices, the best discounts, instocktrades.com. Everybody, that's your number one spot for your collectition needs. So hit them up, In Stock Trades. All right. And Lou, where can people find you online, brother?
You can find me at Comics Guide 101 on Twitter and Comics Guide 101 on YouTube, where you can see my old archive of videos. And I'm going to be hitting the gym after we're done here. So.
Oh, me too, bro. Me too. There it is. I was like, where the hell's our names? One of the other dudes must have did something, but whatever. You guys can find me on Instagram. It's not Gabe's Loves 90 Comics anymore. Sorry. It's Matrix Gabe. I'm trying to make sure that syncs up to my Whatnot account. So also follow me on Whatnot, where I'll be selling, if you're a single issues collector or you're speccing on single issues, make sure you check out the Whatnot app. I'm on there selling variants, keys, back issues, a little bit of filler here and there coming up, things like that. So Matrix Gabe on Whatnot as well. All right. And with that said and done, guys, we are out of here. Have a good night.
Bye, everybody.
Night, night. Keep your balls tight.